This is Luca Romano, by far the best football manager in the world. Imagine if you took Sir Alex Ferguson, Jurgen Klopp, Jose Mourinho, Arsene Wenger, and put them in a lab. This is what you would get if you extracted all of the footballing genius from them and put it into one man. He starts his career at Bari, having played for Juventus, Liverpool and Bayern Munich over a 22-year career. Really impressive, as well as making a massive amount of performances for Italy. We're going to follow his career and see just what he can achieve before he retires. He has played the first game of the season. They did lose in the in the cup, so they lost 2-0 to Genoa. I mean, obviously Genoa are a Serie A team. You know, he is managing in the Serie B, so you would expect that anyway, even with the players available. But he has been quite frugal in the transfer market, signing Filippo Faggi, Michael van der Werf on free transfers, Marco Nasti on loan from AC Milan, Charles Cabot, Jeremy Menez on a freeze, Francesco Scaffetta from Vibonese on a free, and Giuseppe Sibilli from Pisa on loan, while recouping £6 million, having sold Elia Caprile to Napoli. So that's what he's done so far. Let's see what he does in his first season. We'll have a look at what tactics he plays and just how the team gets on. And then let's have a look how his first season with Bari has gone. And fair play, he's won the league. So 68 points, joint with Palermo, and 5 clear of Sampdoria. So they go up as champions. He also had the highest rated player in the league play for him. Now, if we do have a look at the tactics he was using, it is a 4-3-3, and it does appear to be using inverted wingers. The right winger getting 12 goals, but he also got goals from midfield and 12 assists from the holding midfielders. So he is doing something right. Now, obviously, he's got the Serie A to get on with now, so we're going to see how he gets on in his first season there. And then we'll probably jump a couple of years into the future to see where he is. Let's see how he gets on in Italy, in the top division of Italian football. So let's have a look at what happened when Luca Romano got Bari to Serie A. Now, in the first season, Bari finished a respectable 14th. Not bad at all, when you consider they just come up. Now, Luca Romano did then decide to actually leave, and he has gone to Brentford. He left in January of the third season at Bari. So let's see where Brentford managed to finish. They actually finished 13th in the Premier League. Now, he came in at the start of the year, so let's see when he came in. It was here. I mean, he didn't have a good start in his time in charge at Brentford. What's that? 1 win in his first 8 games. But then look at that run of games there. I mean, that is sensational. So he won 1 of his first 8 and then just lost 1 of the next 10. The next 10. So that's impressive to turn it around in such a way, and you can tell this run of form here has led to them getting where they needed to be for safety. In terms of transfers, he did make a couple since he came in. He signed Jockel Anderson on a free transfer, David Jones and Faris on loan from Napoli. There were a couple of players to leave on his watch as well. So he is now in the Premier League, and it's looking like he's going to be sticking with that 4-3-3. Interesting that he does like to play wing. He's moved to Gen Press. Oh, that's interesting. So when he was in Italy and Bari, he had it set to wing play, but he's now got it as Gen Press with more often an attacking mentality. Reputation has gone up as well. It's now 3.5 stars, and he's won 38% of his games, but he's also lost 39% of his games as well. He's had 2 personal awards. Let's see what he's had there. Milestones. So he got 2020. He got 2 Manager of the Year awards while he was in Serie B. They won the league, didn't they? So that makes sense. So he's in Brentford. We're going to give him 2 seasons now, and then we're going to see where he is. So that's 3 seasons into his career, and he's already in the Premier League. Let's see how he does with Brentford then.
Right, then let's have a look at what happened during his time at Brentford. Well, actually, after just 1 season, Luca Romano left and went to Napoli. Now, he got Brentford to a 6th place finish and actually got them to European football, which is really impressive. He also got them to a final of the FA Cup, which they lost. But then he moved to his boyhood club of Napoli. Now, while he was at Napoli, he finished 2nd in Serie A, 10 points behind the winners AC Milan, but he did win the Europa Conference League and came runners-up in the Coppa Italia. So, pretty impressive. So let's have a look at what he did during his time at Napoli. Now, you will notice that if we look into the tactics of Napoli, they are still playing the 4-3-3. He signed Simon Pafunde. He was quite a big transfer, actually, £34 million. Only scored 15 goals. But still, not bad. If you look, he spent £159 million as well in his first season there. Estenis Parola for up to 72 with potential add-ons. Simone Pafundi from Udinese could rise to 41.5. You got Miles Lewis-Skelly from Arsenal for 28 up front, potentially 31.5, and then Sail Kabunde for 41.5. So he pretty much left right after the season he had at Brentford. He's a boyhood fan of Napoli, so the chance to manage your boyhood club, you're going to take it. So we're going to see how he gets on when now back in Italy. Can he push for a 4th Serie A title with Napoli? They have lost some players. One thing I haven't mentioned there is Kvicha Kvaratskhelia went to Real Madrid on a free transfer. Now that deal was already done before Luca came in. He joined on the 28th of June and he actually signed on the 1st of July. So it was a free transfer, was already done. I mean, that is a great steal for Real Madrid. And if you look at his stats, 34 games, 14 goals with 7 assists. And you can see they probably missed him. He's been so consistent over the period of time he was with Napoli. But anyway, we'll move on. Let's see how he gets on in the next couple of seasons over in Italy. Well, we've got big news. Luca Romano has left his boyhood club after just 1 season. And gone to Bayern Munich. And not only that, he delivered the Bundesliga. So let's have a look at what happened. So, yeah, he literally just walked away from his boyhood club to go to Germany. And, I mean, he absolutely romped the league, losing just 2 games. They only conceded 19 goals, 80 points. Let's have a look then. If we look at the tactics... still that 4-3-3 that he loves to use. And in terms of transfers, they spent 114 million. Armel Bella Kotchap from Southampton, 58 million pounds on this lad to play at centre-back. And he played 9 games. They spent 58 million pounds for 9 games. 1 game as a sub. That's a lot of money. He also signed Rafael Domingos for 39 million from SP Braga. He played 17 on the left wing, but he is only 21 years old, so you'd expect he will become kind of like a mainstay of their team, I would expect. They brought Tim Omen on loan from Nice, 6 appearances, and Matteo Finardi from Milan, so up to 26 million, and he started 15, came off the bench 23 times as a holding midfielder, but again, he's only 20 years old. They recouped 41.5 million, sold Bafadi Ducati for 4.1. The big one was Dayot Upamecano went to PSG for 31 million. That could rise to 42.5. In terms of the whole competitions, they were knocked out of the quarterfinal of the Champions League. He was knocked out in the second round of the Cup, but you would expect... I mean, he did play for Bayern Munich, remember? He had quite a long time in his career there. So he's left his boyhood club to go to a club that he spent... I think it was 6 years at. Let's have a quick look at Luca's history. If we go to career stats. So he was there 2013, until 2017. He was there for 4 years, 160 appearances, scored 129 goals. So he did really, he did really well while he was there. You would expect that, he's going to try and build a legacy at some club. But it's got to come. I mean, he's left a wing style play, which he was using in Italy, to go back to Gen Press. So really impressive. Let's see how long he lasts at Bayern Munich, and we'll go from there. He's been at 4 clubs so far in the last 5 years. He spent 1 year at Brentford and 1 year at Napoli after 3 years at Bari, so he's obviously getting quite a lot of experience. And yeah, it'd be interesting if he can build a dynasty with Bayern Munich or if he moves on again. So let's find out. Let's have a look then. It's 2031. Where is Luca Romano? Well, he has moved to another former club. He has gone to Liverpool. He's just moved there on the 27th of May, so only a couple of days ago at the end of the previous season, where he struggled with Bayern Munich. They finished second in the Bundesliga. Let's have a look what happened. So they were knocked out again in the round of 16 of the Champions League by PSG. Third round of the DFB Pokal. Did win the DFL Super Cup, but they were beaten to the title by RB Leipzig. Finished on 77 points. So he's moved on after failing. They spent £114 million that season signing Rodrigo from Celta, Marc Bernal from Barcelona, and Maxime Estevez from Freiburg. So he has taken over Liverpool. Now let's have a look at the state that Liverpool are in as it stands. They've just finished 7th in the Premier League. In terms of their squad, you can see Trent Alexander-Arnold is captain with Alex McAllister vice-captain. So they have got a decent team. Let's have a look at the squad then. This is the tactics that the last manager was using. Turati in goal, Alexander-Arnold at right back, Araujo and Acho in the centre-half position with Stanisic at left. You've got Neves, McAllister and Bove as a three midfield, and then Slosblai, Ben Doak and Ribeiro up front. Darwin Núñez is still there, Harvey Elliott, Luis Diaz, and Cody Gakpo, but how many of these players are going to stay when they don't get, Champions League football? They've got Europa League football, but that's not great. Let's have a look at the competitions that they won last year, or how did they get on? So they obviously 7th in the league. Champions League, they got to the round of 16, same as Bayern Munich. Got to the quarterfinals of the FA Cup, 3rd round of the Carabao Cup, did win the Community Shield. So he's got a job on his hand here. I mean, the top scorer in the league for Liverpool was Ben Doak with 9 goals. He's going to have to, really implement his tactics, but he's got a whole summer to do it and bring in the players that he wants to, which is, fair play. It's a brave move, I suppose, and that tactic is going to change quite a lot. Obviously, remember, Luca likes to play a 4-3-3. You can see he's gone back to his wing play style rather than gen press. But can he turn it around at Liverpool? Can he turn them into champions? Let's have a look at who has won the Premier League as well. If we just go there, let's have a look at past winners. I mean, Man City won it this season, but the year before Liverpool had won it. And they've won it 3 times since Luca's been a manager. So there is the potential there in that squad, but they've got to invest heavily after losing some big name players. So we'll see how he gets on, and we'll go from there. Right then, so he's had his first season at Liverpool. Let's see how he got on. He's now 41 years old, and he's moved back to a gen press style. Well, he didn't win anything. They finished 3rd in the Premier League. They got to the semi-finals of the Europa League where they lost to Tottenham. Quarter-finals of the FA Cup, they lost to Tottenham there as well. And they lost in the Carabao Cup to Arsenal. If that had been Tottenham, it would have been horrendous. So it's not been a fantastic season. I mean, it's been a much better season, but he's not won anything. Rodrigo Ribeiro was his top scorer, 17 goals. Ben Doak, high average rating for Liverpool as well. He certainly seems to be really important. Played 30 games in the league for them. Let's have a look who he signed. Transfer history. He signed... Okay, so there were a couple of signings there back end of last season. He only signed 1 player. Destiny Udogie from Leipzig for 31.5. And they sold £24.5 million worth of players. Leandro Jose going to his former club Bayern Munich was the top lever. So he didn't actually let all that many go. Let's have a look at the team then. So Ribeiro got 22 goals, Fernan Torres 16, Ben Doak got 12, and that's kind of it. So he's obviously got a big task on his hand. Whether he can turn this around is going to be key. So we're going to jump forward a couple of years and we're going to see just how he gets on while at Liverpool. So Luca Romano's reign at Liverpool has come to an unceremonious end as he was sacked in February. Now, interesting, he wasn't sacked because of on-the-pitch issues. He was sacked because he couldn't improve their financial position. I'm not sure how he expects to do that. But they've replaced him. So that's his first sacking. Let's see where he ends up. He is wanted by clubs. Let's see. AC Milan want him. Now, that will be interesting if he goes back to Italy. During his time at Liverpool, he did win the Premier League. So he has claimed yet another trophy. That's 9 trophies now that he has won in his career so far. Let's see what he's won so far, if we can have a look at this. Oh, excuse me. Milestones, there we go. So going back to Bari, he won the Serie B, then he was hired as Brentford manager, didn't win anything there, then went to Bayern Munich, won the Europa League, the Bundesliga, the Club World Cup, the DFL Super Cup. He then got Bayern to a second consecutive title and won the Super Cup again. He then left to go to Liverpool, and in his second season won the Premier League, and then won the Community Shield. And was named Manager of the Month in November before being sacked after failing to improve the club's poor financial position. So let's see where he ends up now. Likelihood is he'll probably go to Milan. Let's see how they perform this season, as that will give us an idea of the task he's going to face. They're 4th in Serie A. He will have Champions League football if he goes there. Atalanta with 97 points won the Serie A. So let's see where he ends up. So Luca Romano is unemployed again. Let's explain what happened. So, obviously, he was fired by Liverpool due to their financial situation. He then took over as Italy manager on the 1st of August 2034 and led them into the European competition, which they lost the semi-finals of to Germany 5-2. Absolutely smashed. They were unbeaten until that point and actually beat Switzerland 4-0 in the quarterfinals. Let's see who went on to win. And Germany lost 4-0 to France in the finals. So he then resigned, which means he's back on the market. So after 13 years of management, he's gone from literally the top, where he's won the Bundesliga, he's won the Premier League, he's won the FA Cup, I think he won at Liverpool, to failing as an international manager with a team that, I mean, let's see if there's no, you would think that Italy would have been one of the favourites for it, and being unemployed again. I wonder where he'll end up next. We're going to have a look. But that is where we stand at the moment. So he is unemployed and out of work again. Well, let's catch up with Luca. So since leaving Italy, he became Bayer Leverkusen manager on the 11th of January 2037. His reputation's dropped a little bit, actually. He was 5 stars. Now, his 2 finishes with Bayer Leverkusen have both been 3rd place. So let's have a look how he performed in the competitions. They got another 3rd place finish, 58 points. They're such a long way behind Bayern Munich. Knocked out in the playoff round, or the knockout playoff round, by Tottenham, and knocked out in the semi-finals of the DFB Pokal by Bayern Munich. So no trophies there. And in terms of his transfers, not a lot spent, £36 million, and the bulk of that was on Pascal Mallet from Nantes, with Dick Schupp coming from Feyenoord. Dick Schupp, what a name. It had to be a regen. There was no way that he wasn't going to be. So it's going to be interesting. He is wanted. Who's he wanted by? Let's have a look. FC Bayern wants him back. Will he go back to his old stomping ground? Remember, he was only at Bayern Munich he was there for 3 years and he played there as a player. Managerial career then is spanning 14 years now, and he's had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 jobs. So he has bounced around. Let's see if he can find a home and build a dynasty. Let's catch up with Luca Romano then, who's now the manager of AC Milan in 2041, having taken over on the 21st of June last year. Now, if we go and have a quick look at his career stats his milestones, let's see what he did during his time at Leverkusen. Obviously, we know that he took over there after resigning as manager of Italy, and he actually went back-to-back German Cup winners, winning the DFB Pokal in 2039 and 2040, which got him into the Italian Hall of Fame. Still not on the world stage yet, but he's getting there. He then left Leverkusen on the 21st of June 2040 after agreeing to become the manager of AC Milan. So, what exactly did he do in his time at Milan? Well, let's have a look. Now, he has won the Serie A, 93 points, with a goal difference of 53, winning 30 of 38 games. He won the Coppa Italia, and he won the EA Sports FC Super Cup. So, pretty impressive. Let's have a deep dive into the league and see how he did.
So as you can see, 5 defeats, 3 draws, 53 goal difference. Let's go a little bit deeper. 77 scored, 24 conceded. That is very impressive. In terms of transfers that he made, let's have a look. So he spent £158 million in his first season and recouped 87. Who were the big signings? Let's have a look. He signed Matthias Baldo from Boca, 15 million, who 21 years old. He's in a £68,000 a week contract. Centre midfielder, played 25 games for Milan in the league last season. He also spent £45.5 million on Jose Costa from SP Braga, £43,000 a week to play centre half, and he made 11 appearances. And he signed Igor Krasnic from Napoli for 56 million up front, who is a right winger who made 24 appearances with half of them off the bench. I've noticed this with a lot of his signings. They're young and he doesn't blood them straight away, which is strange when you consider that he moves clubs so often. But, you know, impressive that he was able to go into Milan and really kind of just hit the ground running. Now, they got to the last round of 16 of the Champions League, where he went out to Monaco, losing 2-1 on aggregate. So he does need to improve that there. Right, so one screen we've not looked at yet is this one. So let's go through it. This shows how long he's spent at the club, or the longest period of time, should I say, how much he's spent, how much he's recouped, but also shows an overall view of his career. So it was quite good to have a look at this after nearly 20 years he's been a manager for. So the longest he has spent at a club is 1,257 days, and the shortest 356. Bought 73 players, spending £1.15 billion, while he sold 92, recouping £784 million. He's also spent £40 million on agent fees and released 24 players. If we look at his overall career stats as well, 797 games, winning 464. He's drawn 155 and lost 178, scored 1,342 goals, while his teams have conceded 754. So he's got a 588 positive goal difference and a win percentage of 58. And in terms of what he's won so far, 9 cups, 5 leagues, and he's had that promotion in his very first season as a manager with Bari. Not a terrible first 18 years in management, but it's certainly going to be interesting to see where he goes from here, who he spends the money on, and where exactly he ends up in the next 5 to 10 years. At some point, he's going to have to stay at a club for a period of time, and he's going to have to build that dynasty, because at the moment, he really hasn't got what he needs to become the best manager of all time. So let's skip forward a couple of years and see where he ends up. Right, let's have a look how he's getting on. Well, he's been at AC Milan now for 4 years. This is the longest he spent at any club. Let's see what he's achieved in that time. So he joined Milan here 7th of January 21st of June 2040. He won the Super Cup in January 2041, the Coppa Italia the same season. He also won the Serie A. He then won the Club World Cup in July. So a really good first season for him. Then he went on and retained the Coppa Italia, retained the league as well, and that was it for that season. The year after, he won the Super Cup. He got a 3rd Serie A title in a row, retained the Coppa Italia again, and then the season just gone, he is underachieved. So if we have a look at the competitions for Milan, now they ended up losing out to city rivals Inter in terms of the title, knocked out in that round of 16 of the Champions League by Barcelona. The Champions League is still that tournament that just has eluded him now. How long? I mean, it's ridiculous with the clubs that he's managed as well that he hasn't been able to even get. I don't think he's got past semi-finals. He hasn't made a final. So it's ridiculous that's actually the case. He came runner-up in the Coppa Italia. He nearly had 4 on the spin, and he won the EA Sports Super Cup. So if we have a quick look at the Coppa of Italia and we look at the past winners, Napoli beating them. If you look at AC Milan now have been in the final every year since 2039. Runners up twice and 3 back-to-back winners and runners up again this year. If we go to the league and we look at the past winners, they have it. Milan have finished in the top 2 every year since 2039. He took over here, 3 back-to-back trophies, and then Napoli have just come out of nowhere to win the league. One thing I would say is is Milan now do hold him as part of their favoured personnel. So it's unlikely he will face the sack unless he has a very bad season. So it's going to be interesting what happens. His record at AC Milan, though, is a win percentage of 74%, far outweighing what he's done in his career so far. Really, really positive. And he is still spending the money, £66 million spent this year, with 58 brought in. So he's still spending what he wants to. And in terms of the tactic, he is still sticking with that 4-3-3 that we've seen him use for the majority of his career, with a gen press. So it's certainly, I mean, it's been massively positive for him. He's actually got a 60% win ratio out of his whole career. He's actually coming up on 1,000 games in management as well, which he'll achieve in the next season, which is just incredible. Is he going to be at Milan for another couple of years? Well, we'll find out. Let's see how he goes on for the next few. He's 53 years old now, so we're probably reaching the last third of his career in management. So let's see if he can actually capture the big one. One thing is as well, he has now entered the Hall of Fame, 2 Hall of Fames, if we just go to these here. So he's still not in sort of the worldwide one, or I'd say that's more all time, because you've got the likes of Bob Paisley in there. However, in terms of the Italian one, he is ranked 6th. Stefan Pioli is obviously up the top there. He retired at 69. You've got Massimo Allegri, Trapattoni, Capello, Lippi all above him, but Romano is there. 4 league titles, 3 cups. It's this, I mean, he needs to achieve more of these, obviously. If we then just dip into the nationality, if we dip into the nationality he's in as well, he is 4th of Italian managers. There, so he's not too far off, but he is a long way behind Carlo Ancelotti and Roberto De Zerbi, who is still managing. He is 65 years old and at Spurs. So let's see what happens over the next sort of 3 or 4 years and see if he stays with AC Milan or if he looks to move to another club. So it's been 6 years since we last checked in with Luca Romano. Let's see what's going on. Now, he spent 9 years in total at AC Milan, and he left in 2049 to go and back and manage Bayern Munich. So he's back in Germany, and in his first season, he has won the Bundesliga and the DFB Pokal. Let's have a quick look to see how they got on in everything else. So again, knocked out in the quarterfinals of the Champions League. He's still yet to reach a final of the big one. You would imagine it's coming soon, though. However, let's have a quick look just to see what he did achieve in his time at AC Milan. Now, when we look at the Hall of Fame rankings in terms of worldwide, he is currently ranked 13th. He's still some way behind Pep Guardiola, who is currently, or was, he's now retired by the looks of it, was a director of football before he retired. Now, if we go back to Luca Romano and we look at his time at Milan, which is here, we can see he delivered 4 Supercoppa wins, 5 Serie A titles, 4 Coppa Italia wins, and a Club World Cup. Pretty impressive stuff. Back at Bayern Munich, though, in his first season, he has won a DF Pokal and the Bundesliga title. The DFB Pokal, he beat Hertha Berlin in the final. Let's see if he spent any money since he took over as well. Obviously, his first season, £92 million. The bulk of that on Choi Sung-hin from Al Wada. 59 million up front, potential 74. 23 years old. He's on £205,000 a week. Centre midfielder. You spent all that money, and we've said it time and time again in this video. 24 appearances in his first season. That's it's an interesting choice, but so let's have a look. We'll jump forward again and we will see just how Luca gets on in the next 5 years. See what he's been up to now, because it has been a busy 5 years for our man. Let's have a look at his milestones now. Obviously, we were here. He just signed for Bayern Munich, and actually he had won the Bundesliga, Pokal and the Super Cup. That's where we were. He won the Super Cup at the start of the next season, but he'd won the Pokal and the Bundesliga. In the May, he was sacked of May 2051. So if we just go quickly to the Bundesliga, let's have a look at the table. and go back to 2051, which is here, now Bayern had finished second. Now, obviously, there is some element that the season hadn't finished at that point. We go to the latest. Never mind. But obviously, Bayern Munich weren't happy with that. He was then hired as Monaco manager and won the Trophy de Champions in August 2051. And then left Monaco in July 2053, having not really done much else. He was hired as Arsenal manager. He won the European South American Club Challenge and then won the UEFA Super Cup. However, later that season in the February, he was sacked due to Arsenal's poor league positions. Let's have a look at where they finished 8th. That's really bad. Yeah, they finished 8th. So when was he sacked? Let's have a look. He was sacked in February. Let's have a look at their results. I mean, they had a pretty poor start. Then they won a bunch of games sort of here. They actually won a really good run. I mean, that's a very good run of games when you look at it. And then he had a good run start. He had a really good start this year as well. Interesting. I was looking at the wrong year. Never mind. I was looking at the wrong year. Can I look at the year before? Yeah, I can. Here we go. So this is when he was sacked. Okay. So he was sacked around here. They were very inconsistent. Very inconsistent. If I get my years right, we'll be all right. I'm so far in the future now. I'm losing track of time. But since then, he was hired in June 54, so the last season, as Hoffenheim manager. Now, they finished 6th in the Bundesliga. So they get European Champions League football. 67 points. They were 5 points behind Leipzig in the top 4, which is a decent return. Where were they expected to finish at the start of the season? So they were predicted to finish 6th, so he's done about what was expected of him. Competition-wise, knocked out in the playoff rounds by Leeds in the Champions League. He won the Champions League this year. Real Madrid. Okay. And he was knocked out by Bayern Munich in the second round of the Pokal. So it's been an interesting 5 years for our man. Let's see what happens over the next 5 and whether he can... He still has not won a Champions League. Let's just get this right. Let's just go back to Hall of Fame again. And we'll have a look at him. He's now 12th, so he's moved up a spot. He's got 10 titles, 7 domestic cups, and another 5 trophies thereabouts. He's closing on the likes of Jose Mourinho, Sessegnon. He's not far behind Klopp. He's still so far behind Pep, Jose Almiron, Martin de Michelis, Luis Enrique, Sir Alex Ferguson, all those kind of guys. But let's have a look. So he's not done terribly, but he still has not won a Champions League. Let's see what the next 5 years holds anyway, and whether he can get that elusive trophy before he retires. So our time with Luca Romano is coming to an end. It is the 27th of June 2058, and in just 3 days, Luca Romano will retire as a manager. What a career this man has had. He has been in football management since 2023. That is a 35-year managerial career. That is sensational. Let's have a look at what happened since he was at his last club. If we go to the career milestones here. So we know that he was hired as Hoffenheim manager. Now, he didn't achieve anything with them. He was there for 2 years. So he was hired in June 2054. He then departed Hoffenheim in June 2056 and went to Leipzig for 12 months. He then departed there after winning nothing and went to Tottenham. And he was only at Tottenham until December 2057 when he was sacked due to their poor league position. He did win the Club World Cup with them. So he did achieve a trophy while he was with Tottenham. But let's have a look at just where they finished in terms of the league. If we go back to last season, Tottenham finished 11th. So God only knows where they were when he took over. We can have a look at his run of results with them, actually. Let's see how he went. We go back to this season here, which is where we are. So, I mean, this is his start. it's not great, is it? You've got this run of results here when they lost to Chelsea in the AFL Cup third round, and then it just kind of went downhill and he was sacked around here. Really, really poor way to end what has been a sensational career for Luca Romano. He's been at the top of the game for 35 years, achieved everything but a Champions League. And in terms of the Hall of Fame, let's see where he finished. Luca Romano finished 14th in terms of the overall Hall of Fame. He got 10 domestic titles, 7 domestic cups. He also won 6 other club trophies. That's things like your Super Cups, your Club World Cups, etc. So that is the overall. If we go to the nation and we go to Italy, let's see where he finished there. He was 3rd overall in terms of his managerial career in Italy. He won 6 titles and 4 domestic cups during his time there, and he was very close to getting ahead of Allegri and Pioli. Had he gone back to Italy, there's a chance he could have achieved it. And in terms of nationality, if we have a look at that one, and we go to Italian, there he is. He's 3rd overall Italian manager as well, some way behind the number 1, which is Carlo Ancelotti. He's actually some way behind Roberto De Zerbi in second as well. But he did win more domestic titles, or in fact, he won more domestic trophies than Carlo Ancelotti. Where Carlo Ancelotti has pipped him, it is the Champions League trophies. That is the big difference. So, that is the end of this episode. I hope you've really enjoyed it. Did we succeed in creating the greatest manager ever? No. What would have happened had we put him at a top club straight away instead of Ineos in Serie B? Who knows? Our next episode, we're going to be looking into Wonder Kids and following the career of 3 very special talents, and that'll be dropping either later this week or early next week. Hope you've enjoyed it. Drop a comment in below. Let me know what you would like me to do in my next experiment or next career walkthrough, I suppose is the best way to describe these, and we'll see if we can get that done for you. Remember, hit subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. See you soon, guys.